Hello and welcome back to another season of Best Bets. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, and I have Joe Manniello, who's Newsday's NFL pick columnist. Joe, how's it going?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Long time no talk, but excited to get back into it, picking again every week.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday we were both saying that there's no way Kansas City is going to lose the Super Bowl, but that didn't work out too well.
No, definitely did not, but maybe back on the horse this year. We'll get into that in a little bit with some Super Bowl previews, but we're going to start with the locals as we usually do. Jets with a new coach and new quarterback are going on the road to Carolina to take on a familiar face in Sam Darnold, and the Panthers are favored by 5 points here. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, when I first saw that the Jets were going to Carolina, I tipped my cap to the schedule makers because that's just perfect. It's a perfect start. Give it to us right out of the gate. Don't wait till week 10 when both teams are out of it, or 3-7 or whatever. There's so much juice in this game. And my first thought was, well, I can't wait to take Darnold, Robbie Anderson. They're going to crush the Jets. But now it's the exact opposite. I love the Jets this week. Getting 5 points, it's way too many points. I think Robert Saleh, perfect hire for this franchise at the right time. They need a guy like him after the Adam Gase debacle. I think he's going to bring so much energy and enthusiasm. He's like the master motivator. And I just think the defense, the 4-3, even though they lost Carl Lawson, I think they have playmakers. Secondary is young. I'm writing in my column, don't be surprised if, Darnold hits Robbie Anderson for a 70-yard touchdown pass. But I just think the Jets, I think they're going to be in every game this year. They're going to lead the league in being in every game. They're not going to be out of it. Maybe one game they'll lose by double digits. Big, 20 points maybe. But I just feel like with that new defense and Saleh, I just love his energy. A big fan of his from the 49ers defensive coordinator days. I think they're going to be in every game. I think this is going to be a close game in the fourth quarter. It's going to be on red zone. Scott Hanson's going to be pitching to it nonstop. I see they're not going to make Zach Wilson do too much. And I like the idea of the running back by committee, the West Coast offense. I just think the Jets are going to surprise some people early on. A lot of people are down on them, and I just think Saleh makes a huge difference. So I think this is a close game. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets won, but I think Carolina will probably win. But I like the 5. I think this is a 3-point game, maybe like a 2017, 2016 kind of game. So 5 points, way too much. Give me the Jets.
I also agree with you. I tried to avoid taking the Jets last year because, well, they weren't very good to us against the spread. But here, 5 is just way too much. I don't think Carolina is good enough to be favored by 5 points really against anybody. Like you said, I think they're going to try to keep it very simple for Zach Wilson, which means they'll try to run a lot. But I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't really see any team scoring, a boatload of points this week. And with that being said, I would imagine that it would be a tight one down the stretch. The Panthers have a couple of starting offensive linemen out there. Right guard has COVID. Pat Elflein's their left guard now after he came over from the Jets. So I think if the Jets do have a strength, it's that defensive line, even with Carl Lawson out. And if they get pressure on Sam Darnold, then maybe they're not just in this one. They could win this one. So I like the 5 a lot. I'm going to take it too.
Yeah, I figured you were going to take the Jets, but I'm a little surprised you didn't go with your signature. I'm right there with you, Joe.
I know. I should have done it. Maybe for this next one. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yes, we'll see. The other local, Giants and Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 3 on the road. Who do you like here?
All right, this is one of the, week 1 is right up there with week 17 is the most impossible week to pick. I mean, they're all, every week in the NFL is impossible. You know that. But week 1 is so difficult because you really don't know, you really don't know what's going on. You haven't seen them play, and there's so much guessing, more than usual. When I first saw this line, I was like, why are the Giants getting 2.5 at home? Why are they getting 3 points? So it felt so obvious to take the Giants. But 2 days ago, I was editing a Giants story at work, and Kenny Galladay, he said something to me that really hit me as the NFL pick guy. He's like, the offense is going to need time to gel. We haven't been out there. Everyone's, they've been dealing with injuries and COVID issues, and Saquon Barkley coming back. And the Giants always have offensive line issues, and now they're going up against Chubb and Von Miller. So I just think that I don't like laying these points. I picked the Giants to win the East, but I something about what Kenny Galladay said. I mean, maybe I'm overreacting to it, but when a player, he's the star receiver they signed all in the offseason, he's been banged up. When he tells you that it's going to take time for them to gel, I mean, he's telling the truth. I just don't expect the Giants to come out. This to me is like a 16-13 kind of game. you're not going to see it on the red zone as opposed to the Jets. It's not going to be it's going to be an ugly game. I'm a big fan of Joe Judge's, but I just don't trust the Giants' offense right now. I just don't think they have had enough time to have the chemistry in the preseason, and they're also playing Thursday against Washington, so I think that might be maybe that's in the back of their mind. They want to start the season 0-1, so maybe a little extra pressure going on the road in week 2. But what he said just really hit me, and I don't have much faith in the Broncos either. Teddy Bridgewater, he's a solid starter, but he's not great or anything. So I just think this is a low-scoring game. Could be a push. Broncos win by 3. The Giants win by 3, then they win by 3. But I just don't. What he said really, really made me think, wow, Giants might not be ready for this game. So, they are going to have the fans there. So maybe I'm putting too much stock into what he said, but I think the Broncos win this game by 3 or 4 points. So I'll lay the 3.
Okay. When looking at the slate, I don't like this game. I didn't want to pick this game. I wanted to stay away from it, but if I had to make a pick, I'm leaning Giants just because I don't see what the Broncos have really done coming off a struggling year last year where they deserve to be a favorite on the road coming from the West onto the East. We know sometimes teams, when they travel coast to coast on the road, they don't show up, but I guess it being a 4:00 game might help that. But nevertheless, I agree that it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I just don't trust taking the Broncos in a spot where they're coming on the road to start their season. And it's a big year for Daniel Jones. He has a lot to prove, so I'm going to bank on him trying to get started on the right foot here with a winnable game.
Yeah, definitely a toss-up. Another point I want to say, we both have the same thought when you're looking at the line. Why is Denver favored by 3? But sometimes when that happens, if you're asking yourself so much, you have to realize, Vegas knows more than us, and there must be a reason why. So maybe don't, just trust them.
Usually right. Game of the week. This should be a good one. A rematch from the playoffs last year, the Chiefs and the Browns. Chiefs are favored by 6.5. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, this should be a good game. They played a really fun game last year. But, Mahomes got hurt and the Chiefs held on. I just think 6.5 points is just too much. It's 6.5, right? It's not 6.
Yeah, 6.5.
Yeah, the Browns are, a lot of people picking them to go far this year. The second year in Stefanski's offense. They have a solid defense. I think this will be a close game. I like the idea back in when a team, last year, the final game is the worst game ever. The Chiefs, you can't think of a worse game. They didn't even score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, it's still hard to believe. They lose 31-9. So I love the idea for them to come out and win. But 6.5 is just too much against a good team. I think should be more like a 4-point line. So I think getting those 2 extra points is too much value to pass up here. I think the Chiefs win 27-24, something like that, 30-27. But I think the Browns are a strong team, AFC contender as well. So I think that they're not getting enough respect here. So I like getting the points.
Okay, I'm going to go away from you again on this one. I'm going to take the Chiefs. It's a big number, so I'm not as confident in it, but I will use the logic that you were kind of laying out there with the last time we saw them, it was ugly, and the whole storyline last year, all year long, they kept saying, run it back, and that team really felt like they were going to do it, and I think they had a little bit of a wake-up call. They went out and addressed the offensive line in a big way, and you're bringing back, obviously, the best quarterback in football with Patrick Mahomes. So I think it'll be close in the first half, but I think the Chiefs pull away in the second half and end up covering this number and win by 7 to 10 points.
Okay.
How about a best bet for us this week? Who's someone you really like?
All right, well, week 1 is tough to find a team that you really like. There were a couple that stuck out to me. Like I said, I love the Jets, but can't use them. And there was two other teams that I like with the great quarterbacks. Seattle, -2.5 at Indianapolis. But I'm going to go with Green Bay. They're at New Orleans, but the game was in Jacksonville because of Hurricane Ida. I'm pretty sure it's 4.5 the line, something like that, 4 points.
4, yeah.
Yeah, Green Bay -4. Last year, Rodgers went into New Orleans with when Drew Brees was there, and they won 37-30. And I just don't see them. I don't see this game being close. The Saints, Jameis Winston, not bad, but let's see him play for a month before we start having faith in him. And it's just an obvious thing. The Saints have a lot going on in their own personal life, so it's hard. You got to question if they're going to be 100% focused on a football game with everything going back on in New Orleans. And Aaron Rodgers, everyone a couple months ago, everyone wasn't sure if he was going to play. It was, he was hosting Jeopardy. It was this crazy offseason, and now he's back. He's all smiling. I think they're going to have a big year, make a run at the Super Bowl. So I just like giving 4 points, and it's not really a true road game. So I think you get extra value there. So I think if they win this game by 2 touchdowns, they wouldn't be surprised. So laying 4 kind of feels like a steal. So Packers -4, best bet.
I like that pick a lot. I'm going to go a different direction, but I too like the Packers this week. I'm going to go with the Titans -3 over Arizona. I think with the addition of Julio Jones, it's going to just open up that passing attack a little bit. Now, obviously, a big question for the Titans is going to be if their offense could still continue to roll with Arthur Smith going to the Atlanta Falcons now as their head coach. But I just think that team offensively is going to be a juggernaut this year, and I don't know if the Cardinals' corners are going to be able to hold up. I don't like their secondary at all. If anything, the Cardinals' strength is going to be getting after the passer, and then their offense, which we saw last year, was streaky. It was up and down. So I like the Titans to open it up at home with a win over Arizona.
Yeah, that's one of the toughest games of the week for me to pick. I read that Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are banged up, though. So, I mean, they're probably going to play, but I think they're questionable. So just be on the lookout for that.
There we go. Something to keep an eye on in that one. How about an upset?
An upset now, just for the viewers, it's not actually picking them to win the game. It's just covering the spread.
Correct.
So just to be clear. So I had to go back and look at the slate for this one because week 1 is tough. But week 1, and especially the first month, it's a great time to pick underdogs because the Lions have to, adjust to the player, to the actual play. So there's definitely a lot of value with the underdogs. One line kind of jumped out to me. I don't understand why this team is getting so many points. The Pittsburgh Steelers at Buffalo getting 6.5 points. It just seems like too many points. Buffalo was everyone's, AFC darling now. I picked them last year before the playoffs to win the Super Bowl, and I was feeling like it was going to happen when they were up 10-0 at Kansas City. I'm pretty sure. Then they fell apart. But I mean, they're a solid team. I don't think that they're going to coast to the AFC East title. I actually picked the Patriots to win the title and have the Bills as a wild card team. I just think this spread is like an overreaction to the Josh Allen hype and them making a run last year. And Pittsburgh, I got Najee Harris now, the rookie running back. Roethlisberger could be his last year. Mike Tomlin's, great coach. I just think 6.5 points. It just feels like too many. I think the Bills probably win. 27-24, 30-27, 6.5. Just feels like too much value. So Pittsburgh plus 6.5 is my upset pick of the week.
All right. I'm going to go with a team that I don't think is going to be very good this year, but this number is just crazy to me. And
I got it. I know what you're going to
say. The Texans +3 against Jacksonville. I don't know why Jacksonville is favored going on the road to the Texans. And over the last 3 years, the Texans are 6-0 against Jacksonville. And if you want to go back even further, straight up, they are 12-2 since 2014. Now, I know obviously much different situation now. Trevor Lawrence in for Jacksonville. Texans without Deshaun Watson. They'll be starting Tyrod Taylor. But this line made no sense to me, so I wanted to jump all over it.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm picking the Texans too, but it's not, it's not one of my least confident picks only because the 3-point spread. So Jacksonville could win the game, but I agree. I think let's see Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence on a Sunday. Let's see what they do. If they can do it on a Sunday instead of a Saturday before we make them road favorites. I agree. It's a weird line.
Absolutely. So since it's week 1, why don't we do a little preview for the playoffs? Who do you got coming out of the AFC and the NFC and a Super Bowl winner?
All right. So you know me. I like to go with the bold picks. I like to make the flashy picks. It doesn't always work. I'm the guy that took the Browns 2 years ago to win the Super Bowl, the hype train, and they, what happened with them. So I wanted to, as I get older, I try to get a little wiser. I wanted to go with the, last year was the first year that a team hosting the Super Bowl won it in their own building with the Bucs. So I wanted to make this flashy pick. This year, 1 year later, we're going to have an all LA Super Bowl. 2 teams in the same building, Rams Chargers. But I just couldn't do it.
Okay.
So I'm going with Kansas City out of the AFC. Like you said, they revamped the offensive line. They're going to have that thing from the way they got beat down by the Bucs, and they might be even more motivated than last year to repeat. So I like Kansas City to get back to the big game, and I have the Rams. I think Matthew Stafford is going to have a huge year with Sean McVay. He finally got out of Detroit, a whole new start. I'm a big fan of McVay and Aaron Donald. I mean, the defense is loaded. I think the Rams are going to make it there. And this is the Super Bowl we all wanted a few years ago when they played that crazy 54-51 game on Monday night.
That's right.
And it didn't happen. But I think we get it this year. I'm going with the Rams. Matthew Stafford wins his first Super Bowl in his first year with the Rams. Sean McVay gets his title after the disappointing loss to the Patriots. And believe it or not, the Chiefs lose back-to-back Super Bowls. But don't worry, Patrick Mahomes, you'll get your 2 or 3 more down the road.
Joe, I'm chuckling to myself because you're going to hear something very similar from me in a second. In the NFC, I have the Rams over the Packers to get to the Super Bowl.
That's the same thing. I had the same thing. That Rams over Packers.
Okay. Do you have Chiefs over Bills too for the AFC?
I don't know if I even did. I don't know if I went through the whole Chiefs over Bills thing. To be honest with you, we do for our stat picks. We just did like the conference championship. In my mind, I had it between the Rams and Packers.
Okay.
But I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. No. I'm not even sure. I'm not going to lie. So I didn't think about it. I just picked the Chiefs.
Because I swear I'm not copying you, but I had the Rams over the Chiefs as well here, Joe. I love that defense. Best defense in the league. And when you looked at that team last year, their biggest issue was Jared Goff. And Stafford's a massive improvement over what Jared Goff is. I think he is going to be unleashed there with those weapons and with the offensive mind of Sean McVay. So I'm buying into the hype. I like it. And I think we're going to have a fun offensive-minded Super Bowl with the Rams and the Chiefs. And it'll be
That's awesome.
An all-time classic. So, wow, on the same page there, Joe.
That's great. Right there with you.
Right there with you, indeed. All right, so a quick run through. Jets and Panthers, both Joe and I are on the Jets +5. I like the Giants +3, while Joe is on the Broncos -3. I like the Chiefs with the big number -6.5. Joe is going to go with the Browns instead, +6.5 for our game of the week. Best bet for me is Titans over Arizona -3. Joe is going with Green Bay -4 over the New Orleans Saints. And for an underdog pick, I like the Texans +3 over Jacksonville. And Joe is going Steelers +6.5 over or against the Bills. And both of us are on the Rams over the Chiefs. How do you like that?
That's great.
Love it. So there we go. Week 1 in the books. We'll regroup next week and see how we do and get this thing rolling.
All right, Matt. Great job. Thank you.